Big Questions with the Dead Milkmen.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Big Questions. And this week is Viewer Questions Roundtable. So I've collected a bunch of questions that were posted in the comments over the past couple of weeks, months. And we're going to just kind of work our way through them and see how many we can get done tonight. The first one is from Bass Strangler, and they ask, longtime watcher, first-time poster, 2 questions about Punk Rock Girl. 1, if my memory serves me correctly, after 35 years, the Punk Rock Girl in the video was Miriam from God's Crotch. Yes, you are correct, sir. Your memory is intact. I believe God Crotch was a band from New York, and director Adam Bernstein somehow connected with her and asked her to be in the video, and that's how that happened. I don't know if any of you, I've searched online for God Crotch information, and there's none to be found on the internet.
Wait, you tell me if you put in God's Crotch, you won't at least get some weird kinky porn site.
No,
and also,
unfortunately,
this is not the first time I'm going to be saying this on the show. You could have Googled that, dude. You didn't have to ask us. You could have Googled that.
Didn't she come to one of our shows in Brooklyn?
She did actually. She did actually, and I think she's an artist now. And I vaguely remember going to her website, but I can't remember what the URL is.
She lived across the street from somebody we knew. Because they were saying Marion lived across the street from me, but I didn't have the nerve to talk to her. Also, when you write us these, people don't abbreviate. This guy has it here. It's PRG. It's not PRG. It's RPG. It says right here, Milkmen RPG. Okay, get your shit out of your ears, Junior.
His second question is, any insight on the use of the song in the pilot episode of Raising Hope? I love that show, and having you guys as part of it made it so much cooler, dare I say. Yes, we think it's pretty cool too.
It'd be cooler if it was one of my songs. But actually, Martha Plimpton is really cool. I met her once in a convenience store in LA. Just happened, I was like, oh my God. So I started talking about Mosquito Coast, and she was really cool. A bunch of films that she made. And I just said, I think it was obviously, before Raising Hope came out. And just she's just super cool. And just follow everything she does. She's awesome. She's a legacy artist, but we're going to give her a pass. Normally, we don't give legacy artists a pass. But the other thing was I loved about that show was Cloris Leachman as the grandmother. One of the funniest bits in TV history. They have an episode that takes place in the future, and the grandmother's dead, and they're talking to her ghost, and she's like, heaven is nothing like I thought it would be. It smells like brimstone and burning tires. And every night, Adolf Hitler and Idi Amin sing Ebony and Ivory. And it's just this nice little subtle joke, her being in hell, just stuck in there. Yeah, that was a really good show.
Yeah, if you can find it. It aired for 4 seasons from 2010 to 2014. And the segment actually that they used the song is pretty cool. I won't say anymore, but if you can find it, it's worth watching.
I think Martha Plimpton used to laugh. The same thing I laughed at was the title of the thing, Them TV. I think it was a thing called Them TV, and that used to crack her up too.
Yeah. I think
my cat wants to get in. Let him in.
I think it's at the very beginning of the first episode.
Yeah, I believe somewhere. Yeah, they're driving around and it's on the radio.
Yeah.
Also, Fish and Camaro is used on Midnight Caller,
and Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black. Yeah, so my tunes show up in the least family-friendly songs.
All right, let's move on to question 2. Question 2 is from Sean Hans. Sean Hans 2864, and they ask, did the DM invent emo? No, we did not invent emo. For those who don't know, emo is a style of rock music resembling punk, but having more complex arrangements and lyrics that deal with more emotional subjects.
Yeah, it's like punk again, the same way that the Olive Garden is an Italian restaurant. Stop asking. You're just asking a question.
Where could they possibly have even thought of this?
I don't know.
I have no idea, but here's the thing. My answer to it is the big difference between us and like Anti-Flag. Well, all of us are allowed within 100 yards of a school. Too soon? Anyway,
Some
stuff
people
writes
say
itself.
Rinse of Spring invented it in 1984. I don't know about that.
This actually made me think of something when I saw this command. I started thinking about why young people in their like late teens and in their 20s now just listen to like doll music. And it's like you stop a young person and they're like, hey, I hear you're into some wild stuff. Well, I'm into pretty wild stuff. You ever hear of the Black Keys? And you're like, oh, dear. And you know it's coming. You see it coming. So I thought, make a movie. You know how like all movies used to be, like rock and roll movies? There are a bunch of stodgy, like, uptight people running a school. And then like the Ramones or some young kids showed them rock and roll could be cool. Do it the other way around. You've got a bunch of like dumbass 20-year-olds, probably in like a community college or a college thing, and they hire a new music teacher, and he introduces them to Choke Chain. And Choke Chain, because if you're like in your 20s, you should be listening to Choke Chain, not the Black Keys. And then like they go ape shit. Like, I mean, they're smearing PCs on walls. That is the movie I want to see. So yeah, not this, like teacher comes to an urban area and teaches everybody to be nonviolent or whatever. No, as a music teacher, he teaches people to appreciate Choke Chain. You can probably get Choke Chain to be on the soundtrack for a reasonable amount of money.
All right. Anybody else have any ideas on emo music? Joe, you've been quiet tonight.
Just a simple no would have sufficed.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
No,
Why is the question? That's an important
disturbing no.
Why would somebody ask that? That's like if we invented, like, I don't know, just if we invented punching children in the neck or something, going to the zoo and beating the animals. No.
All right, this next one I'm going to direct at Dan. It's Robbie Babu asks, anyone get the feeling Dan is constantly trolling us with his recommendations? Dan?
I can't possibly answer for everyone.
You can use the royal way.
Well, I always wondered, Dan,
royal way.
You challenge yourself every week to come up with something on the spur of the moment.
Yeah, there have been several times that I literally, as I was saying it, was coming up with it. But most of the time I prepare. Sometimes I forget and then come up with something else real quick. I don't know. Maybe I live a boring life.
Okay, here's my theory on this.
I don't like anything.
If Dan was trolling us, wouldn't the questions be, when they like the recommendations would be things like, next time, instead of having your butler draw your bathwater, draw your own bathwater. It's an exciting DIY project. That would be trolling us. But occasionally it is kind of weird. This is why I stopped looking at the questions and the comments, because I would work really hard and I come up with a really good musical suggestion or a movie, a TV show, a website. And then Dan would come on and go, I would recommend Breathing Air. And there would be always people in the comments who'd be like, my family and I were breathing air last night. I'm like, you people are morons. Absolute fucking morons. I recommended all this great stuff. Yeah.
I like spinach too.
I do like spinach.
Yeah, who does?
I use gravity all the time.
I had spinach in my lunch today, in my soup today.
So did I. Vienna made spinach and a fake meat sort of thing. And and mushrooms. I had that. I, again, had it last night and had it for lunch today because there's leftovers.
Little ham, little watercress.
I'm trying, I did that chicken fried rice recipe last time.
You stretched.
Yeah.
I recommend we hear from the American Family Association on that. They were like, this show must go.
Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Eric Molnar, 6585, asks, am I the only one who finds it fascinating to see inside all of your Rockstar Mansions in these videos? Joe even has a little door that probably leads to a secret room connected to a hallway that connects to a shopping mall or the White House. Or maybe that's the entrance for the hookers with the champagne and cocaine come in?
That's up, Joe.
Yeah, that's a doorway. Right, I'm not even at my house right now. I'm at my boyfriend's house. That's why you have a blue background. But that's
what?
Yeah, that's why.
Wait, no, stop. So you're saying that whenever someone goes to their boyfriend's house, the background turns blue.
That's what happens to me.
It's like a litmus paper thing.
Yeah.
The background is blue. He must be sorry, I just had to jump in.
When I'm at my mom's house, the background's yellow, of course. Now, that doorway just goes into like another room that has 3 more doors that you can choose and a staircase.
There's a lady, a tiger.
Mystery date.
Mystery.
I thought that door went into John Malkovich's brain. I think it's something else, right?
That's the staircase.
Hey, Malkovich, think fast.
Yeah, I mean, this is just this is my little home studio. You can't really see much of it. There's synthesizers and a drum thing over there. Yeah, and there's a cat down here.
When we did that that little documentary, the mini documentary thing, when we were doing the making of Prisoner Cinema, my house looked huge. Literally, my house is not big at all. I live in a row home in South Philly, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I look like a bourgeois motherfucker. I do. It looked like my house curved with the earth. I don't know how they managed to shoot that. It was like one of those home improvement shows. They just came in, and, oh no, let's improve. It's not. Yeah. So if you see that footage, my house is not big, people.
Yeah, this room I'm in now is about 9 foot square, so it's pretty tiny.
We recorded demos in there. Is that the
Yeah,
same room?
actually, we had all of us in here.
We fit in there somehow.
I barely have room for Anton's coffin.
But Eric Molinar 6585 follows up with, but seriously, the 90s were such a weird time for music. Didn't Kiss even try to sound grunge at one point, or was it disco? And the answer is disco. They released an album called Dynasty. Which,
and hey, what's the deal with peanuts on the airplane?
I looked up Dynasty today and I listened to a little bit of it, and
that has "I Was Made for Loving You" on it, right? I was made for loving
I think so. Yeah, there's
I like that song.
The drummer doesn't even play on the album. He was so messed up on drugs and stuff. I think they had Anton Fig play drums on that album. And Gene and Paul sang like backups and a lead on a couple of songs. Ace Frehley sang a couple of leads on that album too. But it's a pretty rotten record. I mean, well, has Kiss ever released a good record?
Okay, wait, no. Better or worse than The Elder? Which one?
I don't know. I think it's probably worse.
Worse than The Elder? Because The Elder is the rock opera one where they never have the big battle. It builds up to a big battle that they forgot to write a song for. That's the one where Well Heroes, where Gene Simmons cries in the video. It's great.
Yeah,
go watch that, people.
Yeah, I do not recommend you listen to Dynasty, but you can if you want. We'll provide a link to it.
That band has the shittiest corpse paint ever.
Yes. Okay, next question by Ballpeen Baby. Good. Have you seen the video of Jello Biafra interviewing Unarius? I have not seen it, but I do see that it's available on YouTube.
You saw the question, you put the question in an email to send out to us, and at no point you think, maybe I should look at this?
No.
Who else didn't see it? Who else went through these questions and didn't bother watching? Okay, so no, all right, so I'm the only one.
I watched like 5 minutes of it.
It is pretty painful. It is not, he's reading off cue cards for a lot of it. And
was this during the 80s or?
Yes. I think late 80s, I believe. Early 90s at the best. Before, maybe after we discovered Unarius. But this is not the question I wanted. People, you need fresher references. The question I wanted was, hey, don't you guys think it's interesting that Drab Majesty's first album, their EP, was called Unarian Dances? And it's about Unarius, and they were fascinated. Don't you think it's interesting that 2 bands separated by many, many years were both influenced by Unarius? That's the question. It gives you a fresh reference, because if you go to a party and you start talking about like Jello Biafra and all this 80s stuff, someone's going to kick your nuts up to your throat. So just saying, maybe move on with your life into this century.
One Horse Town 3434 asks,
great name.
Did Milkmen ever play a very small dusty town named Jackpot, Nevada back in the late 80s, early 90s? There were rumors among friends in Twin Falls, Idaho, 40 miles north, that it did happen. I've always wondered, did it really happen? Not that I remember.
There are rumors among people in Twin Falls, Idaho, that Mike Lindell is JFK Jr. There's a lot of idiots in that part of the world. Again, you could have Googled this. You could have. I was like, did we play that? I don't know.
No,
I'll Google it.
we didn't.
No,
We
Joe
played
says
in-
no.
we-
Joe's our Google.
I know we played in Reno. I know
We
we
did
played
play,
in
and we played in Las Vegas too.
But I think I would have remembered a town called Jackpot, and I don't remember it. So
Las Vegas
I'm
is
gonna
where we
say
played at
no.
Calamity Jane's, the woman that had the horror movie host.
The low budgets didn't play there, did they?
Low budgets played in Lake Tahoe, I think.
We played in Vegas.
I mean, we did. We played in Vegas, or
Funny.
it doesn't sound. That's in Nevada, I think. I don't know.
Well, there's North Lake Tahoe and South Lake Tahoe. South Lake Tahoe is South Lake Tahoe is where Sonny. Although I want to go to Lake Tahoe, is where Sonny Bono died. Sonny Bono. South Lake Tahoe is the least exciting of the two, but that's where Sonny Bono.
It was the
tree's
least
still
exciting.
there. Yeah,
I don't remember Jackpot. No.
It's a good question in the fact that let me tell everyone that the tree that Sonny Bono ran into is still there. My mother made me look for that tree online. I'm not joking. My mom was like, we started talking stuff. She's like, you think that tree that they cut down the tree Sonny Bono ran? So I had to find pictures of the tree he skied into and look at footage of people skiing this trail because they tell you where it was. And you can see it's gotten taller, but you can see the tree. So there you
go. Stu Bus Driver asked, did you ever play with Superchunk? No, not that I remember, although that Johnny Worcester kid was their drummer for quite a long time.
Again, you could have Googled this. You don't see me. I don't know if you don't see me flagging down Chris Conor and going, hey, Chris, what was the third IMX album?
Some things you can't find on the internet. Still.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Google's getting worse because of the algorithm.
Yes.
Third IMX album was Kingdom of Addiction. It's a really good album.
All right, so the next question is from John Ober 469. What do you think of the meters? Ain't no use. And he follows that up with, would the record Ain't No Use by the Meters, please? It's a 12-minute song.
And he must be in the Meters. This is another one of those questions where it's like, I hate to bring up Woody Allen, but Woody Allen had a book called Without Feathers. And in the book, this is what we read when we were a kid before we knew about Woody Allen. There's a story about this guy. I was talking to Joe about it, I think, the other week, where Abraham Lincoln, you know, the thing where somebody asked Abraham Lincoln how long a man's legs should be. And Abraham Lincoln says, long enough to reach the ground. And he's telling his wife about how clever. She goes, why would somebody ask that? Why would somebody ask you how long a man's leg should be? And that's he has to go find this guy. Turns out the guy's son had fallen asleep on duty in the Civil War. They were going to execute him, and he was going to ask Lincoln to pardon him, his son, but he froze, and that's what came out of his mouth. And that's what I think what happened. This guy had some other question. He was typing, he froze and went, okay, yeah, this is good enough. You guys want to cover the meters? Or he's in the meters. We only have two choices here.
Well, the drummer is a great drummer who goes by the handle Zigaboo Modaliste, and he's an excellent drummer. And unlike the Jello Biafra video, I did listen to this song, and it is a good song.
It's a good song, yeah.
Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah,
I like them.
It's no choke chain.
Their first two albums are the best. They're like mostly instrumental. Really cool, like funky.
Yeah, it's very funky. Okay, the next song. Let's see. Anna Draham 2995 asks, did Jim Walewander get his home run ball back?
His HR ball.
His HR ball back. If the answer is yes, did he credit y'all with his great success on that particular evening? I don't really know if he got the ball.
He did.
A fan?
He did.
He did? Somebody gave it to him?
Well, yeah, according to Detroit Free Press, they ran an article about it like years later. He did get it back.
And he did have one of the best. I didn't even notice,
but he wasn't scheduled to be in the lineup when we were invited there, but I guess somebody else couldn't make it. That's what the article said. Somebody else couldn't make it, and Sparky called him up, and he was in that game, and he had his first home run.
Well, he said more because
the Tigers and Tigers won that game too.
And he had a great line. They said, well, what are you going to do with the home run balls? This is how I know he got it. He said, I'm going to put it in the glove compartment of my car. And when that fills up with home run balls, I know I can afford a new car. So brilliant line. Absolute genius. Jim Walewander. So, yeah, I have my card, and I put it away for safekeeping. Now I have that drag it out again.
Yeah, there's my Jimmy Whale signed Jimmy Walewander card, and we are actually mentioned on the back. So it's a scorecard. If you can find it, you'll find the Dead Milkmen on the back. Anyway. Let's see. Next up is Chris Oliver, 123. Here's a question for the making of pretty music for pretty people. Is that a stylophone on the final solo on All You Need Is Nothing?
Indeed, it is. And hello, Chris. Yeah, that was one of the several examples of you guys allowing me to put some kind of noisy machine thing on, or a toy.
You have a collection of stylophones now, don't you?
I have two. You have that one, the rectangular one, and there's a round one too.
Oh, the drum one?
Yeah, the round one's cool. It's got like little drum pads, and then there's other settings. So you have like a bass, and then there's like another one where it's like 1, 2, 3. Like
that's the worst one. The one I think I gave you that one. That's the one where you. It's like a drum. Yeah.
And that was the music. Remember when we did the song challenge when we did the Bigfoot versus the Mafia, or Bigfoot and the Mafia?
Yeah.
That was a lot of the stylophones on that. Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's also in sanitary times too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's see. Steve French Woods and Stuff asks, what's the backstory on obtaining the answering machine message used in Make It Witchy? That guy seems really annoyed about not receiving his weekend newspapers.
Yeah, I gotta tread lightly here. Someone within our immediate circle has an office job, and his number at the office job is one number off from what the old Inquirer number was. And oftentimes, a lot of elderly Philadelphians will leave him. In fact, one time he picked up the phone and wound up talking to a 100-year-old Philadelphian. But oddly enough, they don't read their news online. Old people don't. But they don't like the black keys, and that makes them okay in my book. They would call and they would say, like, I didn't get my paper, and I have to explain that my number, it's not the number, it's one off. And I'm being super polite because I don't want them getting mad. Now I'm giving myself away here. This person didn't want them getting mad at the corporation they work for. Super polite. But sometimes the person would come in, and person who worked with this person, another one, her number, phone number at the office was one number off from a podiatrist, and you get these people going in like, my feet hurt. so everybody would kind of exchange these weird messages that you would get. And this guy did not get his Inquirer, and he was claiming that the woman stole it off of his porch. So what happens is I will spend a lot of time working on songs, looking for just that right thing. And in my head, I was like, at the end of the song, there was nothing that needed to be filled in. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. I've got the, she hates everybody and she is a bitch. It just, you would think that we'd hired somebody to say it, but no, it's absolutely perfect. And it was one of the things I'm glad I fought for. Some people didn't want it on the thing. I fought for it. I'm glad I did, because it really does. I think it gives it that it just gives it that sort of like drop off there that I really enjoy. It's got that dramatic possibility. Like, who is this guy? What role? But it really is a real person, really kind of angry that he didn't get his Inquirer.
I'm like silently waiting for us to be contacted at some point to be like, that was my uncle or my grandfather.
That was at least a decade ago that I came across that recording. And I'm pretty sure he's not with us anymore. I mean, he might be, and I hope he is, because I'd like to hang out with that dude.
I'd like to put a newspaper on his grave.
You ever go into the Pope up here on Passyunk, and there's that guy would be drinking at the bar at the Pope. That would totally be him. And everybody like, this guy's awesome.
Big Ol' Bop asks, what is your process for writing? Has your process changed through the years? No, it's pretty much remained the same. Sometimes an idea pops into your head, and I might make I might make a little recording on my phone as a memory aid. And then when I get back to this room here, I might try and flesh it out and turn it into something. So it might start out with a guitar riff or a drum beat or words even. So the advent of the mobile phone with a memory device app on it is a real godsend, I think, for songwriting.
Yeah, we didn't have computing machines. I have a really, and plus I used to be kind of lax about writing. I'll write when I feel inspired. And I write every Sunday. Every Sunday I sit and I have the church thing I've talked about before. I also jot down ideas, like, and I'll look at them later and I go, the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy with hepatitis B. That's an interesting idea. If I can't use it for this project, I can use it for something else. So I'm constantly jotting down songs, but every Sunday I'm in using my computing machine, which I wish they'd had, because it gives you access to everything out there. So about this the other day in the studio. I'd like to see more people come into the studio with like laptops and stuff, but because you've got all these sounds, people always go like, oh, well, here's a kazoo. Can you run it through like a Leslie? I'm like, you could have done that at home. You could, but the thing is, my writing process is several hours, usually on Sunday. I jot down the ideas during the week, and I work on it on Sunday.
And I have two processes. They really haven't changed much, except as Dean said, the smartphone has come in as a memory aid in recent times. But usually I'll start with music if I'm not where I can flesh it out. I used to just keep the music in my head as long as I could till I got to something to play it, but I've learned to I guess work on the song when I can. And it's one reason I don't like I used to hate going into a place and hearing another song because it would interfere with something I was thinking of. But I'm like, I don't care about that much anymore. But I have two ways, either starting with the music. When I get down to record it, I'll put it aside, and later on in another state of mind, I'll put words to it. And the other way I'll make words to either bad music or rhythm, put that aside and wait till I'm in another state of mind and look at it and see if I can put music to it.
Don't put it aside. Finish your songs, people.
Well, I do well,
every song I start, I finish. Yeah.
He has to be in another state of mind.
Yeah, I got
a state of mind.
The wall has to be purple, man. That means he's over at his dealer's house.
But that's just the way I've been doing it for a decade. So, but as far as collaboration goes, it's a whole other story, because when I would work with Dave, he would bring pieces of a song and ask me to finish them for him. He rarely ever had a whole song. Sometimes he would, but then it's like, what do I get inspired out of his thing? And it might not come immediately, and it might come immediately, and who knows? And he might not have liked what I did, and then we'd have to work on fleshing that out.
Well, wait a minute. If I hand you a piece of a song, and I write the whole song.
You never do, but yeah, sometimes Dean will put a piece of a song, but usually these days it's a whole. People give us whole bits of whole song structures, and then we.
But I'm saying, if I give you a bit of a song and I don't like what you did with it, I gave you the bit of the song. It's like if I give you my child to raise, and my child.
Well, I'm explaining the way Dave and I would. But Dave and I would be in the same room together, fleshing it out.
All right.
It used to be when Rodney would write just the lyrics, I would look at them, and sometimes I would have it. You could see you could hear it as you were reading it.
Yeah, I can hear I can hear lyrics, and I go the other way. I can hear lyrics in other people's music. Yeah, because my family, I told before, my family grew up, all those shows that were instrumental, like the Walton's theme and stuff, the theme songs. My family would make absolutely filthy lyrics to. I'm not kidding. And oh my God, the Walton's theme, I can still remember, like, all of us just making it dirtier and dirtier. And now John Man. I remember that one. That was one of my favorites. And so I think that's what got me on. So if you have kids, do that. Like if it's like a theme song, just do something dirty with it. The kids will grow up to write songs.
Yeah, when I've watched TV with the kids, I don't do it so much anymore because I don't really watch TV that much anymore. But we would mute the commercials and we would do dialogue, like make our own dialogue over the commercial.
The one that was most popular was people, when I was living on Pine Street, and they come over, when Entertainment Tonight would come on to hear me do the theme, I called it Entertainment for Fish. So Entertainment for Fish, that's a TV with fins.
That's all I've only called that Entertainment for Fish ever since then. I never call it anything else.
I will still to this day be somewhere and people come on and go, entertainment for fish. That was a fun show to watch until I started having epileptic seizures whenever Mary Hart would talk.
Last two questions. Andrew D. Louise, 4830 asks, I like mustard on my hamburger. Does that make me weird? Yes. Mustard goes on hot dogs. Ketchup goes on hamburgers.
Mustard can go on a hamburger and a cheesesteak. Whatever you want. Mustard is awesome.
I like mustard,
I
but
agree.
I don't know.
Better.
I don't really like ketchup on much of anything. I would put mustard on French fries too.
Andrew, I'm not engaging in hyperbole when I say that just behind the death of my father, this question was the worst thing to happen to me in 2023.
And the last question for the evening is it's the second question from Robbie Babu. He asks, is the background for the album art Bucky Fellini a ceiling tile? No, it is not. It is a piece of weird, fancy art school paper that I probably stole from art school way back and just carried it around with me forever and ever and finally got a chance to use it.
That's a good question because I never knew that. When I saw that question, I was like, that is a really good. I had no idea.
It's not a ceiling tile. It's just a piece of paper that has all these weird, like.
Now that you say it, I've seen that type of paper at Blicks and at the place up on 3rd Street. Yeah, now it makes sense. Nothing else does, but that does.
And finally, I wanted to end up with one last question. It's kind of like your moment of Zen, Zen cone. DR McCain 9629S. Is there a place to submit questions?
And I was saying that I actually do go through the phone and try to answer. If I find a question interesting, I will try to answer it. And I didn't answer any of these questions.
Well, once in a while, I will answer questions. All right, let's move on to recommendations.
Sure.
Recommendations time. Tonight, I would like to recommend a YouTube video, as I am often wont to do. This is a video by a fellow named Joshua Weissman entitled, I Cooked for an Italian Grandma. Joshua Weissman is a popular YouTube chef. He's got over 8 million viewers. And this one, he goes to Italy and he makes pasta with a tough old Italian grandma. Does he survive? Watch and find out.
I actually have cooked for an Italian grandmother. My wife's grandmother, who lived to be 104 years old. I cooked my pasta dish for her, and she really liked it. I was amazed. But she was, as she got older, she was losing her taste and smell, and she did everything by sight. So she'd be like, add a little bit more of this and that, and she was dead on. It's probably the best. I would think I make called pasta roti. All right. Maybe I'll have the recipe on here someday, but it takes hours. It's got shrimp. You'd like it. Okay, so let's begin. First thing I'm going to recommend is the South Fellini channel. It's the most Philadelphia thing ever. There's a lot of Hoagie Wave. Hoagie Wave is taking old stuff from Philly in the 70s, like this of the Al Albert's Christmas special, and putting lo-fi music behind it. They have 2 hours of a burn barrel on 9th Street. For those of you not from Philly, 9th Street is our Italian market, and they have these barrels that in the winter, they just, whenever they break up like a wooden pallet, they throw the wood in there and the barrel's burning and it keeps everybody warm. Every now and then you'll see like impromptu doo-wop groups. It's really cool. They have, so you know how on YouTube you'll see like 8 hours of a relaxing fireplace in a mountainside to fall asleep to? This is 2 hours of a burn barrel on 9th Street in South Philly, and it is glorious. I'm a big fan. South Fellini, they have a store up on Passyunk for me, and I'm a big fan of everything they do. And they have guitar pedals now. Coming up next, I'm going to recommend the Dungeons & Dragons calendar. It's the 50th anniversary edition. Can you believe that Dungeons & Dragons premiered 50 years ago? No, you can't. Because you played football. You didn't play Dungeons and Dragons. You know who else played football? Okay, Gerald Ford. Yeah, that puts you in the same category as Gerald Ford. You know who plays Dungeons and Dragons? I mean, other than me, okay, Joe Manganiello, all right, Vin Diesel, and Satine Phoenix. In fact, put up a picture. Don't put up a picture of the dudes. People don't watch the show to see handsome dudes. Put up Satine Phoenix and leave it there for a bit, okay? You can leave it there. Adjust it so it's there for the next. Leave Satine up as long as we can. Okay, that's who's playing Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, not you, Mr. Sports Guy. Up next, I want to plug. I don't usually plug stuff I'm doing, but this is DJing, which is the only thing I really do well. I'm an okay keyboard player, a terrible singer, and all right songwriter, but I am a really good DJ. I will be on January 6th. What could possibly go wrong? I'll be in Baltimore on January 6th at the METROSCHOCK, the 20th anniversary edition. It's at Metro in Baltimore. You can find it easily. I'm hoping that my old Dungeons and Dragons injury doesn't act up and keep me from playing. And I'd also like to thank them for, on the poster. They didn't put like the Dead Milkmen and then Rod the Anonymous from on small letters. It's Rod the Anonymous and then in small letters the Dead Milkmen. So it doesn't trick people into thinking the Dead Milkmen are playing. But yeah, if really should go there, folks, and see me DJ. It's one of two things I do well, and I can't talk about the other here.
I'd like to recommend a Frontline documentary I just recently saw called "The Discord Leaks Explained," and I found it very interesting. In case you don't know, it's about this classified document leak that happened not too long ago by this young man named Jack Texiera. I guess to impress his Discord friends, he stole documents from where he worked as a National Air Guardsman in Massachusetts and leaked them on a Discord server. And then it's the story, they tell the story, they explain what a Discord server is. They talk to Discord people, they interview the other people on the server who was with him. That guy's arrest has been, he's
he forgot to keep him in his bathroom, you know.
Yeah. He's also crazy. He also has some very interesting beliefs, if you know what I mean.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
The whole thing's kind of sad, but still I found it interesting. So I recommend it. It's
one of the people you're not inviting over for Hanukkah.
You can stream it now.
I would like to recommend this. I prepared this one.
breathing air.
No, and I've already recommended this, but a different part of it. I recommended Duolingo before because I was studying Latin through Duolingo, but now they have a music learning section of the app, and it's cool. I'll show you. Yeah, it is like designed kind of almost like a game, but like you get to play these like songs. Let's see. It starts you off easy. I got a little further into it, but like it starts you off with just C, D, and E. But then I don't know, what does this say? Play high C sharp. So you do that. Then you gotta, and I'm missing all of them obviously, but
so it teaches you scales and stuff.
yeah, it teaches you like where the notes are on the keyboard. Like I said, it starts out with like C, D, and E, and you do that for a little while. Then it's like G or F, G, and then I'm on like level 52 or something.
Show off.
I'm sure it's fascinating, but we still have that picture of Satine Phoenix up. No one's saying.
Yeah, but now everybody gets to hear a little bit of music, even though it was all off. But yeah, it's actually, and I've recommended it to a few of my students, like some of the beginner ones, because it's good. It also shows you like rests, like basic like theory stuff. So
in Europe, an eighth note is called a quaver, and I hate that.
And you know, in Germany they have an H.
In Japan, the hand can be used like a knife. That doesn't work with a tomato.
But a credit card
will work in those vending machines with the panties. Yes, I know.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Wait, did we get one from Joe?
Oh,
he did recommend. He recommended that documentary
video. Yep,
it was covered up with.
Don't pay attention to my recommendation.
It was so lousy, Ron. I didn't even remember it.
But thanks, everybody, and tune in again next week.
Yeah, next week's show is going to have a lot of variety. That's all I'll say.